Okay, back for another scrapbook video here. Okay. Here's Brett Favre. Back for 15th year, Brett Favre warms up for Thursday's preseason game against San Diego. Favre was 9 for 10 with a 23-yard touchdown pass. Favre nearly retired after 2004. For 3 months, I was 100% sure. Here's another photo of a comic book. I was a comic book collector a long time ago. Something that irritates me thinking about it, but when I moved I moved to Utah, and I was in Utah for about a year and a half. And then when I moved back from Utah, I moved back to Minnesota. I lost about half my property that I thought was in storage, that I thought I would one day get. But so far, that was, I've been back in Minnesota for 10 years. So, yeah, my comic book collection, which I started in the 90s. So I had some comic books that were that old that I had in these plastic sleeves. So makes me wonder how valuable they were, but the sentimental value of, and just the fact that it was my property and gone, along with a lot of other things. So yeah, I'm a fan of comic books. Comic book superheroes, superhero movies. Yeah. Both Marvel and DC. Okay, so this is says DC compiles best of what if tales. Everyone knows superheroes are imaginary. Does everyone know that? But there was a time in the 1960s when some stories were too incredible to believe, even for a comic book. That's why comic book fans of a certain age will grin like the Joker when they hear DC Comics has collected 11 such tales in a $19.99 soft cover called DC's Greatest Imaginary Stories, on sale this month. These were stories readers wanted to see. Clark Kent choosing between Lois Lane and Lana Lang, Batman flying, Superman having twin sons, but which occurred outside regular continuity. Among highlights, a 1946 story in which Captain Marvel is the last man left alive after an atomic war. A fanboy's fantasy in which Jimmy Olsen marries Supergirl, and the first official imaginary story from 1960 called Mr. and Mrs. Superman. Even though Superman is married these days, he's married? That cannot replace the charm of these simpler tales. The collection includes one of the most dramatic what-if tales of all, The Death of Superman from 1961, which imagined Lex Luthor murdering the Man of Steel, who is seen waving to his fans from the clouds in a touching final panel. Huh. So I haven't since the time when I lost my comic book collection. I haven't continued. I haven't gotten any other comic books. Comic books are nice and everything. It's nice, like, especially for someone who doesn't like in the past, when I used to, the times when I would look at books, I would just like looking at the photos, like when I was real young, and I would just get bored when there wasn't a bunch of photos. So like, for someone who is like that, who prefers a lot of photos and not as much to read, comic books are nice. I guess that was part of the reason why I liked comic books, was the illustration. So I don't have any comic books now, not anymore. I prefer to read actual books now. I don't need to have all the photos. Photos are nice, but I like reading. FDNY, Fire Department of New York, to release September 11 info today. After years of legal battle, the Fire Department of New York is releasing today thousands of documents offering a detailed look at its response to the September 11th World Trade Center attack. The department planned to make public hours of radio transmissions and hundreds of oral histories telling the story of firefighters' rush to the Twin Towers on September 11, 2001. Some of the families of the 343 firefighters killed said they hope the information will cast more light on problems that contributed to the death toll. I want to know what happened to my son, said Sally Regenhard. Her son, Christian, died that morning. The state's highest court ordered the release. Vaccine could slow Alzheimer's disease. Vaccine could slow Alzheimer's disease. A study out today in the Journal of Clinical Investigation reports that an experimental vaccine slowed development of an Alzheimer's-like disease in mice. We're not mice. Encouraging news for 4.5 million Americans afflicted with the incurable disease. William Thies, spokesman for the Alzheimer's Association, calls the new findings promising, but said more work must be done. Howard Weiner, it looks like Wiener, but I'm going to pronounce it Weiner, at the Brigham and Women's Hospital in Boston, and his colleagues combined two drugs they hope will spur the immune system to destroy deposits of beta amyloid, a brain protein thought to play a key role in the disease. Weiner said he plans to start human trials next year. Here's a photo of Peter Jennings. Jennings, the anchorman who delivered the news on ABC for decades, died of cancer Sunday at his apartment in New York City. He was 67. Peter Jennings, America's Person of the Week. Well, there's some quotes here by names I don't recognize, so they're not like celebrities or anything. I grew up watching ABC anchor Peter Jennings. What makes the news of his death particularly personal to me is the fact that he died on August 7th, my 25th birthday. A trusted voice is lost. Editorial Wednesday. Whether Jennings was covering a political convention or a tragedy such as the terrorist attacks of 9/11, I always found that he was very informative and gave the viewing public everything it needed to understand current events. During times of tragedy, Jennings was often very calm and gave viewers the reassurance that sooner or later everything was going to be all right. I also enjoyed seeing him broadcast his evening news reports on location from places around the world. A favorite World News Tonight feature of mine was Jennings' Person of the Week, a Friday segment that highlighted a person who accomplished something special. What I liked most about the feature is how it often captured everyday, average Joes. ABC and the rest of the world will miss Peter Jennings. His newscasts added a lot to our world culture. The authoritative reporting style he brought to our living rooms every evening likely will never be duplicated. And so there's more quotes by people I don't recognize. It's just some average Joe quotes. Well, it's 11:30 a.m. This is around the time, if I'm not outside at the library using the Wi-Fi, this is around the time when I like to preheat my oven for my food for lunch. But when I go to the library, I don't get back here until like around 2 p.m. So I usually have a late lunch. I don't know if the audio picked that up, but just the creaking of people going up and down the stairs. That's annoying. Okay. Here's a photo of, who is this person? I guess this is Mamoun Fandi. That's who this is. And the article is For Muslims, a Role in the War on Terror. Well, maybe I'll read that. That might be interesting. The time has come to issue a fatwa to excommunicate Osama bin Laden and his followers from the world of Islam. In fact, as terrorism rages, we need a stream of solid counter fatwas, legal pronouncements in Islam, from the Muslim community. Thus far, we have heard fatwas, such as the one issued last month by the Fiqh Council of North America, telling us that Islam does not condone violence or that Islam condemns these actions. These types of words are not enough. We need to move beyond abstract condemnations and actually exclude those who give Islam a bad name. In the same spirit that bin Laden and his group label moderate Muslims as Western lackeys, it is time Muslim leaders pronounce bin Laden by name as non-Muslim. That's right, excommunicate him. A clear fatwa should come from the centers of theology in the Muslim world, from Al-Azhar University, a prestigious school of Islam law in Cairo, and from Mecca.